In the confines of the quiet library at lunch, there was a different feel between us than last night with the hug, which I tried not to reference. Sue, I was really amazed by the effect you had on me and the audience last night from just showing us what beauty is. It's not something that I could be that confident while being so vulnerable.
Your extravaganza was more like a method of hypnotizing the masses to joining your cult, and it worked. I hear there is a groundswell of opinion to make it a school motto and a school song. At least it would be easy to remember the words. Seriously, to get all those pieces and rhythms together, such a tapestry of muscle that caught everyone in its web. I think you eclipsed me, you bastard.
Sorry.
So, why do you want to work with me?
I've never really met anyone who liked Philip Glass as a good start, and I think ballet is one of the pinnacles of human refinement.
What are the other pinnacles?
Well, there's design at the top, the ability to think through problems to elegant solutions. There's music, of course, but my list just explodes after that. Art, kite flying, poetry, singing, architecture. Well, my list does go on, but ballet is certainly one of those outstanding achievements of the body human. But it's so stripped back, it's just the body. It's incredibly stark, that gives proof that we have a handle on beauty.
What do you propose?
I've chosen a couple of my compositions that might be a starting point, but I'd like to go through a process called design thinking with you. I've been introduced to it by my mentor, this old guy who was an engineer and helps me with some of my projects. It is funny, but I've never told anyone that I had a mentor. I mean, you have a ballet teacher, and it's much the same, but for us the outcome can be anything. I suppose you can call it a design teacher.
Anything? Like what?
Well, we created a laser calendar based on sunrise direction, the laser harp, the music compositions. Most important, we helped to see the process of programming the go big, searching for a solution by starting with empathy. Sue, ballet to me seems to be a different language, one that is descriptive and emotive. The question is what you want to say with your dance. There are two groups to empathize with, I suppose. The audience, but I don't want to focus on them, but on you and what you want to say with your language. How do you approach choreography?
Oh, big question. My training in the main has been about how to glorify the feminine beauty. But that being said, every ballet should be the Swan Lake, because it's the pinnacle of beauty. As a dancer who wants to be diverse in her language, I find it difficult to define what it is that I actually want from the music. I, as well as my teacher, build a response to the music. It might have to do with the rhythms, or the way it holds emotions to allow me to interpret it.
This process is fairly open. I'm still learning it. I don't want to talk to the dancer, but the choreographer. I want to be more than a composer. I want to be a choreographer with you. Do you feel up to making up a dance with me?
Yes, that sounds good. To move away from my teacher and expand my role to encompass more in how the dance is done. I'd like to be seen as a smart contemporary dancer that bridges the field of dance with entertainment. I see that beauty is on offer, but there are other ways to approach it. In a time of TikTok and other social media, it's difficult to do anything by halves. Video graphics, special effects and AI are all in the same entertainment arena. You have to stand out, and that needs, creativity and pushing boundaries.
That sounds right up my alley as to what I'm aspiring as well. We live in a time of incredible distraction and endless variety of entertainment. I have a thing for OK Go, a band that has reasonable music but just superb videos that they spend months organising, and in the end they do them live. You might know them from their first video of dancing on a bank of 4 treadmills. I don't think in a way it has propelled them as musicians, but certainly as entertainers. But from my love of science, they really have done something exceptional. I have this new app that takes the movement of people and supplants or replaces the person with an avatar, replicating the movement pretty well. Here, I'll show you. You go in and choose an avatar and shoot the video. Here, shoot me. As I run and jump around the library, the nuance of my movements are captured and then displayed as a dinosaur. Her face lights up with possibilities. Change the avatar. All you have to do is drag from the bottom. What do you want to be? I want to be a ballerina.
You are so gracious.
I really captured the movement of all those limbs and changing avatars pretty seamlessly. If we use this, it could be fun, though not so serious. We have empathized with you in a focus needing to be adventurous, and this is not all about beauty, but about entertainment as well. How else can we empathize with the audience by saying what? What is the expectation of the project? Story, meaning, effect on their lives in considering new ways of being?
Though maybe not go bigger.
Well, before we go on, let's just explore the app a little more. So it has a lot more avatars. If we make a story or connections between them, it might help. So elephant, lizard, fish, monkey, dinosaur, warrior, soldier, astronaut, alien, Barbie, robot, cartoon characters, manga characters. We could do the origins of man passing through different characters in the evolution. We might have to work out a couple of steps without the app, like the start of multicellular life. But you as a dancer might be able to give meaning or character to each of the avatars.
How could it work?
Don't get too worked up in the process just now, but if we had 2 screens of video of you and one of the avatar on the other, you could be a duet with some variations on that. So I'm going to push on, not to dominate the process, but just to jump into ideas before we can cut them down. We have some definition of what we want to achieve, so let's run with this for a while. The next step in design thinking process is define. You start.
Well, it is a display of dance solo with accompanying avatar movements, 4 or so minutes long with music track you provide. The dance, the music, the avatars would have to change and morph over time. It would seem that costume would be minimal. The lighting would need to be fairly straightforward as the area is a stage.
What can you say about the movement in regard to changing avatars?
Well, the types of movement would change certainly between dinosaur and monkey. Well, between every one of them. There would be ways that I can typify the characters and maybe work against the preconceived ideas of what the character does. Just
keep in mind what you're going to say, but leave that for the next stage of ideate.
Okay, the characters could be a display of me as different identities mimicking me.
Ooh, that was good. More.
We need an angle on the story besides evolution, or more resolved. It's as if it ends with astronauts and aliens. What is the message? Where is the big finale? Do you become friends? Do they help us save the planet? Or help us on Mars?
Great, we have to get to that. But on the way, when you get to now, what do we say as well? Do we have the avatar as a homeless person or a ballet dancer and interrupt the app for a double video feed of you? Could you have a LED sign display the dates, 20,000 BCE, etc. To make a big positive end, I think there might be a tension established before to have a sense of victory or triumph of man. We either display the near future or dire of the present, dire in regards to war. We could cut the app and have a war scene that you dance across. We have blended some of the steps here, but now ideate.
As I was trying to get out, maybe I don't take on the movements, but they take on mine. If I and the screen are next to each other, I suppose we could flip the video screen so that the image is mirrored so the characters look at me when I look at her.
I'd love to be able to put a simple tutu on a character to mimic you.
If there is an establishment of simultaneous movement between me and the characters, I wonder if there could be a delay so that the dancers could be a call and response thing.
We haven't really resolved the thoughts on near future war, an alien, an astronaut. Maybe the first contact with aliens would be so magnificent it would stop the war, maybe a little difficult to get across. So you are in our time as a beautiful ballerina, war breaks out, guns bomb, you are thrown around and quiver in fear, the alien comes into orbit, rocket takes the astronaut to meet her, maybe we could have two apps running and you could be both. No, I can't see it. Maybe the evolution of man to get to ballet as the pinnacle of humanity and dance as the language that is truth and glorified. Maybe the music can give some of this too. Well, the next step is prototype, and even though we have not resolved, I think it might be worthwhile to try to set up the tech to achieve it and develop the theme as a process to workshop it. In a way, coming from the prototype back to the ideate, or even the define.
I'm not so sure of your confidence in the process, but it seems a good way to explore.
And I will look at the music. Besides, as you have defined, there are different sections aligned to the character. What mood would you see dancing to it?
Here is a difficult question for me. As I said, I work off the music, but there could be movement of styles, but we are not focusing on the 20s jazz and the 60s Beatles and so. I would see it not as classical music, maybe one simple melody that changes instruments. Something like the melody from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Maybe that could be sweet and move through the emotions and build up to menacing.
Well, let me look into that, and I'll get some time in the drama room at lunch to try out some tech, and then we could work it through. This has been great to share minds. I love this stuff.
Yeah, I can tell.
And she went off to class. Not much romance, but I did like working with her. Under a shiny black plastic is a squirming form lit by flashlights from offstage. Sue is hidden in the black plastic coat with a free-flowing cape, giving the impression that she's no particular form. As she gets to her knees with two high and long trumpet notes heralding complex life, the marimba draws an uneasy landscape of openness that is filled with baritone sax, deep trills under a distant trumpet. Like it's growing and morphing, she dances around the stage like a ghost of wind trailing behind her the shiny black strips. I come onto the stage like a wildlife photographer in cams, shooting her that ignites the big screen with a close-up of her face as a small dinosaur that mimics her every nuance of movement. With incredible realism, the textures, the hairs, that's enthralling. She and her avatar stand tall, and the screen turns to a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and they play up to the audience with the power and the mannerisms. And with every movement, the Rex moves to Sue's choreography, and they both move to the edge of the screen, and as the video is reversed, they face each other, nose to nose nearly, and then they both scream. The face turns into a type of beautiful monkey, staring at the screen at every understanding way, just hanging with her family on the treetops, preening each other. With her undeniable elegance and as a monkey duet, Sue slides across the stage and the monkey smoothly swings from branch to branch. Then from inside those graceful moves across the stage, she changes and is portrayed as a butterfly, which really plays into her grace as she flits from step to step, somehow haphazardly around the stage, on beautifully coloured wings where Sue's arms move. The flight becomes very direct and meaningful as her avatar turns into an eagle soaring high across jungle landscapes. Sue comes to the camera and sees through the eagle's eyes, purveying the world. As the stage goes black, the screen lights up with a glow that is an asteroid quickly approaching and hitting the Earth. As the music recovers, she tears off her coats to reveal a leotard of white covering her full body, just leaving her face open to be seen. After racing around the stage, she approaches the camera, and while she expresses her thoughts into the lens, her face, which is then morphed into faces of the world. Blacks, yellows, tattoos, white, which seems to capture the whole world. As she moves further from the camera, her whole body is captured in quickly changing costumes and dressed from the world of indigenous and varied occupations. The spaceship breaks through the atmosphere. She runs over to the screen and looks in astonishment as it lands. Out of a gangway comes a many-legged alien, and she turns on a piece of rhythmic bass music, and the alien moves into the rhythm, and they both dance a duet, in a way communicating, dance together like language. Then, as a pre-recorded video plays of the alien and Sue dancing together on screen, they move up the gangway to the spaceship and takes off into the night sky. And is quickly indistinguishable from the stars. The audience goes crazy for the great work by Sue to tell such a clear and inspiring story. Sue graciously calls me on stage to take a bow. I could have tried to kiss her, but I know my feelings are unrequited. She just has a thing for a football player. I tried to think of a utopia where there is no such thing as football and no such thing as a football player.